All right, man. Well, welcome to this LPR Trading Group podcast. Thanks for joining us here, Lang. I'm sure everyone's going to appreciate it. I guess
Absolutely.
we'll just riffle through a few questions here. And you know what? I just want you to run away with, the questions and, just give us the real life experiences on your trading and trading in general. And we'll just go from there, man. So maybe what I'll start with is sort of what got you into trading. Like there's that first step for everyone that introduces them to the market. What was that moment for you there?
So I took a job with a company it's roughly 4.5, 5 years now, I guess. And some of the guys that I worked with there, they were trading on the side or throughout the day. And that kind of introduced me to trading. So I just dipped my toe in and really enjoyed it. I was exposed to it back in high school, economics, and also even in college. I had a couple finance classes and had some exposure there, but just never took time to really look into it, to give it a go until later on in my adult life. Whenever some of the, like I said, some guys I work with, friends now, acquaintances as well, they were doing it, and it just piqued my interest. So I went with it, bought a few books, kind of did the whole thing I guess people do, read that, got on YouTube, started watching videos, um, thought I had it figured out, opened up an account, and just let it rip.
Right on, man. So like, were you guys like trading at work, like collectively? Were you sort of trading the same things? Was everyone just doing their own thing? Like, were you guys just throwing darts and buying? You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
no. So, yep. So we would usually come in. Um, Somebody would have listened to something online the night before, right? Somebody had watched a video that was posted, say, that morning, from the prior morning's pre-market, or maybe even an after hours video had been posted that, one of the guys followed somebody on YouTube, right? One of the, I they call them, um, I know they're gurus or whatever they call them. And there's people on Twitter that trade that people follow, and they have trade ideas thrown out there for the next day or for that week. So we'd look at it, of course. We'd pull up the chart and not know what we was looking at. Never looked at long term stuff. We'd basically be on the minute looking at where it was at, where it had been. You know, Thinking, oh man, this has got to be a dip buy. This has got to be this is way down here. Look at this. There's all kinds of chatter online about it. We got to be part of this. So of course we would, we'd jump in and we'd agree we're all going to buy X amount of shares and let's see where it goes. It's going to go to the moon, right? And it was definitely an adventure starting out. That's for sure.
So did you guys ever catch that one that went to the moon, or was it just pain and more pain?
No,
Okay.
we caught some that went opposite of the moon several times, but and I felt bad. I mean, because there was a lot of times that I would get on social media, and you get bought into these. You would look at these accounts, and they'd have hundreds of thousands of followers, and just following like a handful, and you're thinking these guys are legit. This is this is the man right here. And they have some random name, but it was like, yeah, this is it. And you have no idea what you're doing. So it's like, oh, this guy says, buy this stock, it's going to take off. And I knew nothing. I knew nothing about pump and dumps. That terminology, I had no idea. So, I would go in and say, guys, we got to buy, ABC stock or XYZ stock. I mean, this is it. And here's why, and I would give them what I had read. And of course I would sell it to them. Like I was part of the plan, right? And, and I mean, we would buy massive amounts of shares because the stock was so cheap it was a cheap stock from China or whatever. It was junk, garbage. and you know, here we go. We're all jumping in and just you know, and no clue what's going to happen, but we would take a shot at it.
So your
So,
office essentially and your coworkers, now friends,
mm-hmm.
were essentially the ones that fueled all the pump and dumps back in the day, is what you're
They
saying.
did, evidently. They were shorting it and just laughing at me over top of their monitors, And but it was wild, that's for sure.
That's an experience for sure. So would you recommend
Yeah,
new traders go out there on Twitter and find Dr. Bob X and follow his alerts, or is that not a thing?
yeah, absolutely not. I
Yeah,
mean, I, I'm not saying there's not legit traders on Twitter. I'm just saying the number of not legit traders outnumbers the ones that are probably trying to do good. Um, so I would definitely tell people that are new to this, be very careful. Um, Make sure you do your own research. Don't just take someone off of social media. Just don't take their advice as the gospel. Just make sure you do your own research on that particular stock before you enter a trade.
for sure. I know there's a lot of people too surfing Twitter, both good and bad traders. And typically the
Mm-hmm.
good traders are looking for um, the bad traders and sort of taking the other side of the street, as we would call it, right? The street says
Yep,
bullish. Well, the good traders are usually going to wreck it to the other side because
that's
if
right.
95% of traders fail and the majority of the street says this, well, it's probably that, right? It's probably the other.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Interesting, man. So what would you say? Well, we know where you started trading now. You started trading sort of the pennies with a couple buddies at
Mm-hmm.
work and throwing some cash into that. You're in the States, so you had a PDT. So you had to sort of absorb losses that you guys were taking and stay over that
Yep.
PDT, or were you taking less trades? Like, were you only taking the three transactions a week or whatever?
Well, I can't speak for those guys. I know some of them never they use cash accounts, so they had to wait until their funds cleared, whether it was the next day or whatever that rule is. But um, I I fully funded my account, so um, anytime that it would drop below the 25K, if it was still within normal trading hours, I would try to make up for what I had lost, right? So I would just be doing like revenge trading or whatever you want to call it. I would just keep trading,
Hmm.
trying to dig myself out of that hole. And 9 times out of 10, end of the day, I would be below the 25K, which at that point you're going to get flagged if you try to trade again because you fell below what they consider that PDT rule, um, and they will flag you. They'll give you a warning. If you keep trading, they'll lock you out of your account. But what I would do is I would take money out of either my savings or checking to refund what I lost to put me over that rule, so I could trade the next day. And this was like a never-ending story. I mean, it was the same thing over and over again. It was just repetitive, where I would trade, make a little money. I'd get the itch. I'd want to trade again. I'd lose money. I'd trade again, thinking I could make it up, lose more money, fall below um, the limit allowed, have to take money out of my account, put it back into my trading account, and it just got to be where it was over and over again. But the thing is that um, if you are working full time and you are trading, um, the trap that I fell into was I was fortunate enough to make enough money that it didn't bother me to continually fund my account. Right? I enjoyed trading. I knew it was a matter of time until I figured things out, even though I wasn't doing anything to figure things out other than doing the same thing over and over again. Um, uh, but I would just keep funding my account over and over and over again, not knowing, hey, here's your end goal or there's the end game. Or here's what's going to happen. I'd keep making the same mistakes over and over again, and I think that's definitely a pitfall new traders fall into and can fall into that trap. So it's 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 one of those that really took its toll on me early on. I gave a lot of money away.
For sure. I mean, as did I, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the other traders that are going to be watching this. I'm glad you got out of that though, and finally realized, because I often say, well, I don't, well, I often use sort of the Einstein term or quote, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again,
Yep,
expecting a different outcome,
absolutely.
right? And
That's right.
gosh, I did that for a long time too.
Yeah,
Tomorrow it's going to work. Tomorrow it's going to work. I made a little bit today, and the way the market does this is you can do some really silly things and get paid. So that's what keeps you coming back for more. If you did silly things all the time and never got paid, you would very quickly stop doing those silly things because you never got paid, right?
that's correct.
It's like sticking your hand on, don't touch the stove, right? Well, because
Hmm.
it's hot. Well, you stick your hand on the stove and you get a burn, you're not going to do it again because it hurt, and it's definitely going to burn next time. Um, Whereas the market sort of works different, and it sort of plays with that human emotion that keeps you coming back. When it thinks you're at your lows, it'll throw you a few bucks and just keeps you coming back for more, right?
Yeah.
Um, that's cool. Thanks for sharing that. That's really neat there. Um,
Yeah.
okay, so from where you started trading, you guys started trading pennies in the
Hmm.
office. Now, um, what was the progression from pennies to where you're trading now? You're trading, futures, specifically ES now. So what was the progression? Did you just go from pennies to futures, or were there some steps or milestones or roadblocks along
Sure.
the way?
Yeah. No, and we did. I mean, we traded legit pennies, right? Even sub penny. So that's where we started, and then we graduated up to say, which is still considered a penny, but $2, $3, $4, $5 stocks, right? That look to be more legit. And then when you stop and think about it, it's like, really, is that, how much can a $2 stock? I mean, how much can it really be a legit company? Um, so but we would trade those. I traded those for probably a good year or 2 years, because you would catch one that would run and it would make you some money to put in your pocket, and you'd feel good about it. And the next day you'd come try to find the same sign, same kind of stock, same kind of setup. Not knowing that's usually a dime, or it's usually like a, what to say, needle in a haystack, right? It's one of those where you might catch one runner, um, just to get you interested, and the next day you thought you were going to do the same thing, went to do the same thing, and it would do totally opposite, as far as the way it reacted. But we traded those for quite a while, just because of it being so cheap. You could buy, you know, um, thousands of shares, and it didn't, cost you a fortune to trade, even though you could lose, quite a bit of money. But as time went on, I decided to trade something that I thought would have a little more structure to it. So I started trading airlines and cruise lines, because one of the guys, that's basically all he traded. And he said he was a coworker of mine. We held the same position. He sat right across from me. So he introduced me to some of the airline stocks, and so I traded those for about a year, not knowing what I was doing still, just looking at hey, it's down today. Um, you look at it close to the end of the day and it would be down, thinking, well, it's going to rally tomorrow. It's an airline stock. All the names, right? Southwest, Delta, whatever those names are, we all know the names of the airlines, and you're thinking to yourself, yeah, this thing can't be down forever, you know. But it can be down for several days in a row, and that wasn't what I was thinking. I was thinking it was down today, it's going to be up tomorrow. It's up today, I'm going to let it go back down, I'm going to buy a dip buy. And I rode that roller coaster for quite a while. Um, and then at some point, um, I, I started trading um, a few of the high beta stocks, just because I had some other people that I traded alongside of doing the same, um, and they they were a little easier to read. Still, could shake you out, just like anything else. But I traded those. I traded high betas for about a year, basically the good portion of this last year, up until around maybe first of November of last year, and I decided that, hey, I'm just going to trade the SPY. That's it, nothing else. Um, all these stocks that I'm trading daily basically make up the SPY. Why not trade it? So I dove into it, started studying it, um, traded it for uh, maybe what 5 months before I decided to jump over and trade futures with you guys. But uh, um, made a lot of mistakes along the way, trading penny stocks and even trading some higher higher price equities, and then even the high betas. I mean, I've just you know um, wasted a lot of time and a lot of well earned money that I'd like to have back. Um, but I think that's part of the journey, and how you learn. Unfortunately, that you have to take some lumps along the way. But I'm not sure that I would have been able to clean up things if I hadn't have made those mistakes early on. So I think that's been kind of a blessing.
Yeah, totally. And I truly believe, like, we're not going to learn from doing things correctly, right? The only way we learn is by failing. And the most important thing is, getting back up. I think it was, damn, I don't want to use the wrong name here, but Denzel Washington or McConaughey or something, they said it's okay to fail and you should fail, but when you fail, fail forward. So, you
Oh
know,
yeah,
all
yeah.
of your failures are pushing you forward, and essentially it's a lesson learned along the way, right? And you fail 99 times, 1,000 times, and then that one next time, that's sort of the light bulb moment, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where you're like, okay,
Sure.
we got this, right? Um,
Yep, absolutely.
and I don't know if it was similar to you, but I found along my journey there were multiple light bulb moments that, okay, now I know this is the direction we have to go on, because um, a trading journey is really a straight road that turns into a road with a lot of forks. And then you choose a direction, and then there's more forks, and then it's like this never-ending maze that always goes straight, but there's all these forks in the road, and you got to choose the right path. And some paths are longer than the others, but ultimately, all of those forks in the road lead to that same ending, that one ending everyone's looking for. It's just a matter of the route you took to get there, right?
That's right.
Okay, with that, what was two questions? So this is sort of a two-in-one question here.
Okay.
Number one, what was like the most pivotal moment in your trading career, and what was the hardest moment in your trading career up until now?
Hmm. Well, I can probably answer the latter first. I mean, the hardest for me was just getting over the losses, especially when I started trading um, full time. I made a decision that, hey, I've got to a point in my life. Um, I spent 22 years, um, working for someone else or for others, and I thought, hey, I've got to a point where I can, if I'm going to take a shot, I need to take it now. So just getting over the losses, and I know, I mean, everyone has probably talked to someone or listen to someone on YouTube or whatever the case is regarding trading and the psychological side of it, and it's real. I mean, it's legit. It really bothered me for the first few months, and it doesn't as much anymore. It's just one of those things that I've learned that's just part of the process. I mean, you're going to lose. I mean, it's inevitable. I mean, it's uh, if someone out there tells you they win 100% of the time, then they're lying to you. And I don't care to tell them that. But uh, getting over the losses early on, um, just because in the past I had a salary. I was receiving a salary every 2 weeks. Here, no one's handing you a check. So when you lose money, that's your money coming out of your account, and the only way you're going to get it back is if you're on the positive side of a trade. And once you start looking at that, thinking, hey, I have to win. I have to hit winners. I got to make X amount of money today. Um, I think it's a losing battle. I mean, for me, it was. Um, and I didn't learn some of these terms that we use in this group, and and the one is just following the plan. Just stick to your plan, win, lose, or draw. Follow your plan. Um, you really get outside of that and you start scrambling and just trying everything. I mean, um, you get off track real easy in this game, and for me, it was scary. I mean, even though I had planned for a few years to to do this, it was still devastating. I mean, with each loss, I was sick to my stomach. I mean, I would lay in the bed at night and it would just eat at me how much money I had lost, or I mean, even how little I had lost. Just the fact that I didn't make money that day, and I've got X amount of trading days left in the year. I've got this amount of time left. I've got to make X amount of dollars because that's what I made at my job. How do I do that? And constantly running the numbers every single stinking day about what I needed to make today to be able to make this for the year. And you can't do that to yourself. Um, it's a process. It's going to take time, um, but it can be scary. It's it's not as glamorous as others make it out to be. I'm sure there's others that are making an absolute fortune doing this. Good for them. Um, but you have to focus on the way you trade, your style of trading. When you plan to trade a certain way, trade that way. Don't jump over to another way because you lost one trade right off the bat. Um, but that was the hardest thing for me was the psychological part of losing, knowing that you know I've got to figure out how to make up that money because no one's going to fund my account, no one's going to give me a check, put in my savings or my checking account, whatever the case is. That was the hardest part for me. And I actually had to go talk to some people that own their own business just to ask them about losing. Um, how did you deal? Did you have losing quarters? Right? Did you have any quarters where you weren't as profitable as you were before? Yeah, how did you deal with that? Because basically, this is when you start trading, that's your business. I mean, you need to treat it like a business. Um, and I had to go talk to some people. I had some close friends, and even family members that I talked to that own their own business, just to pick their brain and see how they thought about that because they're in the same boat. If they don't have customers or they don't sell to someone or whatever, they don't do whatever they have to do. You know, how did they feel? How did they deal with it? Because I felt like I was on the island by myself. It was really scary. Um, but yeah, that's probably the hardest. As far as the most pivotal moment, um, I mean, it's going to sound really cheesy if I say joining this group, but um, yeah, I think without mentioning other groups I've been part of in the past, and there's been a few, I think the most pivotal was meeting some of the traders that I trade with now that I traded with in the past. Um, Being able to pick their brain on things that maybe I was afraid to ask before, ashamed of them thinking that I was less of a trader, not maybe at their level. Um, so I think that would be the most pivotal was to be part of a group or be able to trade alongside people that I really wasn't worried about asking questions or trying to get answers to things that I, I still didn't have at this point in the journey, right? There's things that maybe somebody had told me in the past that was off base, wasn't correct, and then someone shared something with me via DM or even on a Zoom that we've had in the past, and it could be humbling. Some of the answers that you get back when you ask a question, it can hurt your ego. Um, but I think taking to teaching along the way over the last year um, has probably been the biggest step for me in what we do.
It's awesome, man. That's fantastic response there. So back to the hardest part and like planning the trade, following the plan. Like this is something we stress like in the group, right? And I know from following you in the group and seeing what you're doing, you've adopted a very simple approach that we have in the course, right? And you've just told yourself, I'm just trading this. It works. I don't want anything else. I don't need anything else. You sit back, you have your coffee, whatever it is, and you're waiting
Mm-hmm.
for what you want to see. Um, with
Boring as
that,
hell,
yeah. With that being
but
said, on the FOMO subject, though, right?
mm-hmm.
There's traders in the group trading maybe something else that we trade or something that they trade alone that no one else trades, right? And it's like
Right.
how do you feel? This is on like the whole FOMO thing. You've
Mm-hmm.
told me previously that there's times where you had to mute your mic or mute your headset, not because you don't want to hear anyone, but because
Right.
even still to this day, you can feel that little gremlin inside you just itching, right?
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. I mean, I still get the itch just to, you know, push the buy button, right? I mean, it's just one of those things that I still struggle with today. I mean, early on, it was a no brainer. I mean, you see something running, you don't know that it's going to reverse or that it can potentially reverse. Thing, it's going to run and run forever because that's what everybody says. Man, this thing's going to go to the moon. And you just jump in and hope for the best, not knowing any different. Now, I mean, I know different. I mean, I know that's not how it works. I mean, you can. I mean, you can get lucky. You can jump in, maybe catch it at the bottom, and you can ride it to the top. I mean, that's great for you. But I mean, at this point, not that I have all the answers. I don't. I have no crystal balls. Saying, hey, it's going to do this, do that. But I mean, I know better than to jump in on a runner that's already taken off. I mean, 9 times out of 10, that thing's going to snap back, and you may or may not have a stop set. It's either going to hit your stop or it's going to drop below what your stop would have been, what you're willing to risk. At this point, do I just sell to get out? Do I hold and hope, that it's going to reverse and you're going to get back in the money? I mean, so there's times where, yeah, I have to, and like I said, it's nothing against anyone in our group. I think everyone does a great job in there. But like you said, there are still people that don't trade exactly the way I trade. Don't look for what I'm looking for. They trade, whether they're scalpers or whatever. They trade different, and there'll be things said in a voice chat or on a Zoom, that we're having on a certain day of the week. Uh, and sure, it's either fading and it's bleeding out, or it's running like an unstoppable train, and you've missed it, right? And you want to be part of that. So I still have that itch to push that button and just jump in. So there's been a few times where I've had to mute my headset and just kind of step back and say, yeah, that's not what you do. Like, you don't trade like that anymore. That's not for you. So, and there's times I'll walk away. I'll go get another cup of coffee or a glass of water, whatever it is, just to get my head straight. So I still, even though I've been trading for a few years now, yeah, I'm still. Yeah, you can still say you've been trading for 4, 5, 6 years. Yeah, that's still new. I mean, that's a new trader.
100%.
I'm still learning things every day. Yeah. So, um, and I'm definitely new to futures, right? I mean, I'm basically a month into this, but yeah. But as far as the whole FOMO thing, yeah, it still creeps in from time to time, and like I said, I know better. So, um, I, I normally don't do it. I won't say that I haven't, Um, in the last few weeks, I haven't pushed a button on a short side of something. Um, but but just about 99% of the time, I, I'm 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 pretty good about not doing that at this point in this journey. So
That's good, man. And you know what? I like that's really commendable that you can, because it's discipline on your part. You're saying, I'm feeling the itch. I feel this gremlin tickling right now because of some chatter that's happening about something. Some people got into a position that you're not in, even if it was against what you do or not part of your setup. You feel like it's bothering you. It's good that you can react and mute your headset, walk away, grab a coffee, whatever it is, because most traders can't. Like you explained before, you jump in, you don't have a stop, you don't know where your stop is, you chased it, you this, you that. Um, this is a pain versus pleasure thing, right? So with a lot of traders, it's more painful to not get in a trade. So they just get in the trade. They
that's right.
essentially feel less pain if they lose on the trade, at least they were in. But you're now graduating to it's more painful to get into the trade because it's against your plan. You know the damage it can do. You've been there before. It doesn't feel good. And whoever's in that trade, you don't know their exact plan. Plus, they were probably in plenty of points before you. So when you're getting in, they might be getting out, and then all of a sudden you're in, and you're like, okay, what are we doing now? And what are you talking about? I'm out, and you just
That's
got
right.
in, and now you're a deer in the headlights, right? And
Yeah.
that's not a good place to be in. So it's
Yeah.
really nice that you got there, and even if you got to walk away, that's great. This is
Yep.
you know
Well, I mean, like you said, there's no plan. I mean, for me, if I have FOMO and I jump in, there's no plan to that. It's just I've jumped in, no matter where the price is, and of course, the way I have my platform set up, it automatically sets a stop for me, and just about every time I jump in, I jump right out because I get stopped out. It's kind of funny, um, so there is a minimal loss for me now, but it's still I shouldn't have taken that, and honest to God, I've posted things in our chat after I've done something like I can't believe I did this, I can't believe I'm watching this, or what I'm you know face palm, whatever it is, right? I'm like, what a stupid play that was, because after I did it, win, lose, or draw, I'm sitting here going, why did I do that? Yeah, you know better. Why did you do that? But yeah, there's no plan to that for me. It's just you jump in, like you said, not knowing what someone else is doing because they probably have a plan. That's part of the way they trade or whatever. But I mean, for me, it's just a go for it moment, and it's not a good feeling, especially if it goes the wrong way instantly. But
And I
yeah,
think
it kind of stinks.
it's still a bad feeling too if you get in and it wins, right? I often look back at my trades and um, earlier on in the trading journey, I used to judge my good and bad days based on two
Mm-hmm.
colors, red or green, right? If I was red, it was
Mm-hmm.
a bad day. If I was green, it was a good day. Um, the thing is, that can't be further from the truth
Yeah.
because you can have your best green day, and I've done this in the past. Some of my biggest green days up until today were my absolute worst trading days. Broke all the rules, the market rewarded me for stupidity, and it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
do that very often. I just got on the right side of the coin that day, right? Um, broke every single rule in the book, but came out unscathed and actually a lot further ahead. Now, you learn if you do that over and over and over again, you come out a lot further behind, probably at zero eventually.
Right.
Um, so this is like a critical part in trading, and I think this is probably one of your most critical components in your trading. Like the way you're trading right now, Lang, would you say it's difficult? Like, is there any do you have to be a genius in order to trade what you're trading now, or do you just have to be a disciplined individual that will follow some basic rules and just be patient to wait for your plays?
That's it.
How difficult is your
it
trading right now?
it's not at all. I mean, it's extremely simple. I mean, I could probably explain this to anyone, and they could start trading this the very next trading day. I mean, it's extremely simple to understand. I mean, it's mechanical. Um, it's the same thing. It's very boring. I know I said it before, but it's very boring. It's the same setup, whether it's long or short, and you're looking for the same type of setup. Um, I mean, it's just waiting for it to you know rear its ugly head, and that's it. I mean, you're just waiting for it to show up. And um, yeah, that's it. I mean, my thing, and I want to go back real quick to what we were talking about earlier about the whole FOMO thing. One thing that you said, Dave, and I've said this. I don't know how many times I've said it to in this group. I've made comments about it. I've said it to family members. I've said it to some friends. But the fact that if I don't take a trade or I miss out on a run, um, when you said, and I can't remember when you said it, but I know it was you that said it, is that cash is a position. Um, I mean, that just has stuck with me since that day. And it's like, yeah, I have cash in the bank. Well, why do I care? I mean, I don't have to take every trade. I don't have to be in on every run. Um, so I thank you for that because that stuck with me since the day you said it. So.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad you kept that with you because it's very
Mm-hmm.
true, right? And that's a huge FOMO thing. It's people think if their money's not working right now, um, then they're not going to make money. But the thing is we have to strategically work our money. It doesn't have to be in a trade all the time. Um, like you said, when you left your job, you're not getting that 2 week salary check anymore.
That's right. That's
So
right.
you're not on a consistent getting paid by the hour. Like there's days you might sit there for an hour or 2 hours and not get a trade, sometimes a whole day. But I know how you trade, and I know there's trades in your wheelhouse every day. But some
Mm-hmm.
traders, they might not get a trade for a day or two or a week. But I mean, you get paid by the opportunity as a trader, not by the hour. And
That's right.
when you said, Lang, trading is boring, it is. And I think you've probably heard me say in chat before, trading should be boring. If you want excitement and adrenaline, go jump out of a plane. You're in the wrong profession if
Yeah,
you want the
absolutely.
adrenaline, right? Or
Absolutely.
if you want adrenaline in trading, just do it the wrong way and you'll get a serious rush because you'll be overexposed, you'll be trading the wrong stuff, you'll be trading
Hmm.
things that are flying around everywhere, and you'll have this crazy adrenaline rush. But
Right,
um,
right.
yeah, the way you're trading now, calm, cool, collected, you know your plan. It's boring, you said, because it's so mechanical, it's so black and white. You just got to sit there, and when you see it, you just roll your face on the keyboard, win, lose, or draw, like you said, and just wait for the next one, right? You
That's
don't.
it.
There's nothing, no rocket science behind it, really.
That's it.
Okay, so maybe we're getting into about 40 minutes here, but just one last question. So
Sure.
through all of this, through all of our discussion, your whole trading journey, start to finish, what
Hmm.
is one or two things you would recommend to any new trader or any struggling trader? Like, I hate saying new trader because I know there's people who have been trading for 10 years and they're still struggling. So, just any trader that really needs to hear something super important, like, what is it?
I think, I mean, of course, one thing, and I know this is very cliche. I know everyone says it, and I know this may not be, it may not be as important to other traders, but I think one is to start slow, right? Whether it's starting with just a small cash account, um, taking small positions, and just taking it slow, or on a demo account, right? I mean, I know that's paper trading is a big thing. Um, I know people they want to get out there, they want to make real money, but I think trading that style for a while, just to become comfortable. Of course, you can fall in. There's pitfalls with it as well. Trading demo accounts can lead to a little bit of overconfidence because you may be trading a little oversized in what you would if it was realistic. But for me, I I bypassed that. I never paper traded. I never demo traded. I just jumped right in the deep end. So I think starting small, small accounts, That way you don't lose everything, or you don't lose huge chunks of your hard-earned money. That's extremely hard to get back in this game. But I think, like I said, just start slow. I think also too, if you've if you've got people that you can lean on, don't be afraid to ask questions. That's one thing that I had a problem with in previous groups. I was a little bit intimidated, and I'd be part of a Zoom session or whatever it was. We were trading through voice, whatever you want to say, but um, I was afraid to ask questions because I didn't want to be that person that was the novice of the group, right? Because like I said, even to this day, there's things that I learned along the journey. Um, so I think you need to continue to learn all you can, absorb all you can from the people you trade with. Um, I think sticking to that one or maybe two styles. I mean, I don't even like that anymore. I like sticking just to my style. I think people get confused, and the brain kind of gets scrambled up when they trade too many different ways. So I think just start slow, slow everything down, dumb everything down. Try to be as basic as you can. Um, you know, um, I mean that'd be my advice is to really play this, as slow and steady as possible.
It's awesome, man. I totally agree with that. I think people just come out of the gate running instead of crawling, and they end up running into a brick wall one too many times, and then they've got to turn around, take the walk of shame, go back to the gate, and realize, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years later, they got to come out crawling, and they're back where they should have started in the first place.
That's
Um,
rough.
the one thing with trading is, you know, I never understood this either when I started, but you start realizing how fast you can compound money when you're doing things right. You just
Yep.
have to be able to do things right consistently, right?
That's right. That's right. Absolutely.
Right on, man. Well, you know what? I appreciate this conversation, this little
Yes,
podcast
sir.
interview here. It was great. Thanks so much for joining, and we'll get this out to the masses. And you know,
Yeah, sounds good.
we'll see you on the charts on Tuesday. I think we're closed up Monday, but we'll see you on the charts on Tuesday, man.
All right, sounds good, Dave. Thanks a lot.
Cheers, Lang.